What's going on, everyone? The young star for the Charlotte Hornets, Lamelo Ball, is injured and is likely going to miss at least a handful of games this upcoming season. He is expected to miss 1 to 2 weeks, but given the circumstances around Lamelo Ball, also everything that's happening with Lonzo Ball, although they are different players, they still are related, and you don't want to see some, deterioration or something along those lines. So it may be in Charlotte's best interest to just let LaMelo sort of ease his way in, right? Don't want to rush him back. Charlotte's not going to be very good this year. But you have the whole Bridges situation. It's a real mess for Charlotte, and they just don't have the talent to really compete. So what does Charlotte do? Right? Do they just go full-fledged tank and try to go get a guy like Victor, right? I mean, so many teams are lining up at an opportunity to go get Victor, and whoever gets that, that ball, that ping pong ball to fall in their favor, just won the lottery, literally. And so if you're the Charlotte Hornets, do you just decide to blow it up, rest Melo as much as you can, like, hey, take your time getting back, get back when you're 100%, and just go full-on tank mode this season and try to pair Victor with LaMelo Ball? I mean, imagine that. Imagine those two young guys as the face of your franchise going forward. That'd be insane. I mean, seriously, like, Charlotte would be in a great position if they could manage to pull that off. So what do? And you're starting to see a lot of rumors and sort of just thoughts of like, hey, Charlotte should start unloading guys and just go full on tank mode. You're going to be terrible this year. Why not embrace it? Why not try to go get Victor? And of course, the Lakers have popped up once again, right? The Lakers go hit them up. You know that they don't want to give up both firsts. So why not enter the Victor sweepstakes? You're going to suck anyway this year and get at least one first. Like, would the Lakers be willing to take Kelly Oubre, maybe a Rozier, and a Gordon Hayward, right? And then you give up Westbrook and, whatever, winning Gabriel or something like that, just to, sort of balance out roster spots, things like that. Like, you can make it work, maybe, a 2-for-1 swap or maybe a 3-for-1 swap, something like that, to where you can kind of fill in the roster spots for the Lakers. Also, Lakers, if they had to, they could like waive a player or something like that if it's worth it. You're the Hornets. You now enter the Victor sweepstakes, and you get a first-round pick for your favors. You move off of some contracts, stuff like that. It would be a huge win for the Hornets, and it would be a huge win for the Lakers if they were to do that. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think the Lakers are going to do that, at least anytime soon. I really believe the Lakers are going to try to see if they can make Russell Westbrook work. And personally, I want to see if Russell Westbrook could work. I just really think if Russ works for this team, what he can bring to this team, none of these deals can bring that same effect. Russ is a guy that can completely single-handedly win you games and take over games and just be a superstar that we know he is. But can he fit in those situations? He's also a guy that if LeBron doesn't play, if he has the right talent around him, which I do believe he does this season, he can go win you games without LeBron James. So it's just, can they make it work? And I do imagine the Lakers give at least a decent sample size for Russell Westbrook, unless it's just like a deal that's too good to be true, right? Like if the Hornets came to the Lakers and they were like, hey, we'll give you these guys and we'll take Russell Westbrook and we just want like 2 seconds, I think the Lakers would do it. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, you can't, how do you say no to that deal? And look, because of Victor, it is very likely that Rob Pelinka made the best decision by holding out and waiting to see what happens, because there are going to be teams that aren't very good that are finally going to say, okay, you know what, let's just go full tank mode. And Rob Pelinka is probably going to get a really good deal for Russ at some point this season if he is to trade Russ. Now, I don't necessarily think that they will, because I think either the Lakers are going to be really good, and why would you trade Russ and ruin that? Or they're going to be terrible, and it's like, unless there's a deal that's good enough to where it's just a no-brainer, you're probably not doing that deal. You're probably just riding in next season and see what ends up happening. But nonetheless, I do think a Charlotte trade would be intriguing, and I do think it's something that the Lakers should at least explore and see if Charlotte would be willing to kind of fleece themselves to go tank for Victor, right? You lost your young wing player and Bridges. You lost Lamelo Ball for 2 weeks, but still, I mean, it's going to be a handful of games at least. So there's that. And do you really want to rush him back and hope for what? Like, what's the point? And you unload, you clear some salary. Not only do you clear some salary, but now you enter the Victor sweepstakes. I think it would be a huge win for the Hornets. But here's the thing. I don't want Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre, and Terry Rozier. One, I think Terry Rozier becomes completely redundant. All we have are guards. That doesn't really help us right now. Unless you were to move, I guess because you move Westbrook, so maybe you can make the argument like, okay, cool, you're taking Rozier, but I think Rozier is just another Kendrick Nunn to me. So it's like, do you really need two Kendrick Nunns? I mean, I guess it would be nice to always have a guy that could play that role. You could have one come off the bench, one start. So I guess you always had one of them on the court. Not just that, but you could probably play the two of them together. So maybe it would be dynamic. But you get a wing guy. But I wouldn't want Gordon Hayward and Oubre. Like, I would rather have, like, if we could get, like, Terry Rozier, Oubre, and, like, Plumlee, I would love that. Like, I think that'd be great. Or, ideally, if we were to get Terry Rozier, again, you move off of Russ, okay, fine, right? Russ is gone, so I guess you can make the argument for that. And then you're still in the same boat where you're running Schroeder and Rozier. And then you have like Pat Bev and Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench. Maybe you could do that. I could understand that. I don't really want Gordon Hayward. I think Gordon Hayward's potential and upside could be great, but I just don't think the money he has to be paid and just the concerns of injuries and stuff. I just don't think he's worth it. But if you could get, Plumlee, who's an athletic, big, that has no problem coming off the bench. You could even start him if you wanted to. Help alleviate Anthony Davis, especially if you move off a guy like Winning Gabriel, say. And, because Charlotte does have some money, things like that. So, like, say you took on Oubre, Plumlee, and Rozier, right? You got the dynamic two-way sort of dual guard, right? That can play point guard, he can play shooting guard, he can play on the ball, off the ball, he can play with all the guys. Would probably work great off of LeBron, kind of run that pick and roll. So again, you always have a Rozier or none, which I think could be very good. And then you get that athletic big man down low that can block shots, that can rebound, that can just, fill in spaces, like, which would be nice. And he's also a big body. So when you are playing the Denver Nuggets or, you're playing, the Philadelphia 76ers, you got that big body that can just bang down low with them. And you still have Thomas Bryant. You still have, Damian Jones. You still have Anthony Davis. But then Anthony Davis, you don't even have to worry about him playing the 5 if you don't want. Although, it probably still best to have him at the 5. But Thomas Bryant could play the 4, stuff like that. So you can make it work. You can figure it out. You basically got a 4 big man lineup. But the beauty is 2 of those 4 can shoot really well. So there you go. And then you got the 2 shot blocking bigs. And then you got Kelly Oubre, who can come off the bench and be your wing defender, right? You literally got a 3-and-D wing. He's kind of more of in a vacuum scorer. He's either really hot or he's not, but still, he can play solid defense. He can, he can knock down the 3. He's also an expiring free agent, so you still get some flexibility there. Same thing with Plumlee, but Rozier's money. That's a big question. That's a big concern. Like, if it doesn't work out, you're kind of stuck with him. But if it does work out, then great. If it turns out to be a good thing, then great. It gives you another dynamic scorer, which I don't think hurts, right? Scary Terry does. But if we could get PJ Washington somehow, I would do that. Like, I don't know. I don't think the Hornets would do it, if I'm being honest. But how bad do you want to tank? How much do you value Victor? Like, if I was the Lakers, you're in a position to where you don't need to do a trade. You don't really even want to do a trade. But, if Charlotte really wants to go full tank mode, and Charlotte really does want to, get some assets, maybe you give up 1 first, a couple seconds, or like a pick swap, like a first and a pick swap. If you could do that, if you could get PJ Washington Kelly Oubre and Terry Rozier, I think you do that. I think you do whatever. I think you figure it out from there. Because you get a young power forward. So, I mean, like, just think about it. You could have a starting five of Dennis Schroeder, Scary Terry, LeBron James, PJ Washington, and Anthony Davis. That's a really good starting five. Really good starting five, right? And then you still have Patrick Beverley, Kendrick Nunn, Kelly Oubre. You still have, Damian Jones. You still have, JTA guy. Like, you'd be 15 guys deep, easy, and you'd have so many dynamic and like that would be, to me, that would be a contender. I really do. I think you'd be a legit contender because you have multiple guys now, and PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Kendrick Nunn, Scary Terry, even Kelly Oubre to an extent, all can put up 20 plus a game. Like, they can. And that's not even counting like the random standout. Like, Thomas Bryant has had monster games before. You get a game like that. But I mean, at the very least, you have at least 5 guys a night that can get you 20 plus a game. And PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Scary Terry, and Kendrick Nunn. That's 5 guys there that every single night could give you 20 points. That is huge. That would be huge. You'd be a really good scoring team. Defensively would be my only big concern, right? But now you got your wing defender. You still have everybody. You basically turn Russell Westbrook and like I said, say like a winning Gabriel into these 3 guys. That's really good. I really don't want Gordon Hayward. I really don't in the deal. I just think the taking on his salary, the risk reward isn't good enough. Yeah, it'd be nice to have 2 wing players, but I don't think Gordon Hayward, like there's a lot of questions I feel like with Gordon Hayward and his fit. Although you could start him at the 3, play LeBron at the 4, Davis at the 5, and then, have like a Kendrick Nunn or whoever, or a Walker, or, whoever, pick your 2, and then have like a Dennis Schroeder. Or you could go 2 guards, like have maybe Beverly and Nunn with, my point is you have options there. But I'm not as high on Gordon Hayward. And look, this is coming from a guy that I really liked Gordon Hayward his entire career, but I just think he can't stay healthy, makes too much money. It's just, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that there. I think Scary Terry taking on his salary, I think would suck, but you get a young guy in PJ Washington, and if you can keep a draft pick, a first, I think that's good. I think that might be the best deal the Lakers could get if the Hornets were willing to include PJ Washington, which the Hornets have been rumored to trying to trade him on several occasions. So would they give it? Again, it just comes down to how badly do you want to tank? How badly do you really want to try to go get Victor? You no longer have Bridges. LaMelo's going to be out for 2 weeks, but you really want to rush him to come back. And you got this alien, as LeBron put it, that's out there that is for the taking. How badly do you want to tank? Is doing this deal and giving up PJ Washington worth it? Because if they get Victor, it's all worth it. I guarantee you Charlotte would trade their entire roster, not name LaMelo Ball, if they could go get Victor. So that's kind of like your sales pitch, is like, you want the best chance to go get Victor? Okay, well, you have an excuse to sit LaMelo as long as you want, so he doesn't have to play. We want all your guys that are really good, that are going to give you wins, like a Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, and a PJ Washington. Now you're terrible. Congratulations. Here's a first and a pick swap, and here's Russell Westbrook. You're going to waive Russell Westbrook, and then all is right in the world. I mean, there's value for the Hornets there. It's not just like, we're taking on Russ, so it's a first anymore. No, you are purposely trying to tank. You are purposely trying to be as bad as you can be. We're taking on salary, and we're giving you a pick in the process. And if you end up winning the Victor Prize, then we just changed the fate of your franchise in one trade. Congratulations. Even if we win the championship, the Hornets might have won that trade. just depending on how good Victor turns out to be and what the Lamelo Victor combo might be. As crazy as it sounds, like they might still win the trade if they were to win that. But anyway, as always, I thought it was an interesting idea, and it was just something I wanted to bring up and talk to you. I don't think it happens. I really don't. I don't see it happening. Even without PJ Washington, like even if it was Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre, and Terry Rozier, I still don't think it happens. I just don't think the Lakers want to trade Russell Westbrook, at least at this time. Maybe it's an option at some point this season, but I don't see it anytime soon. I do think the Lakers are going to have options very soon in the next couple months, because I think teams are going to realize, like, hey, why are we trying to compete? Let's just go try to go get Victor. I can see that happen. And there's other people in this draft. I mean, this draft is a pretty deep draft. And even if you end up getting Henderson, like, that's a pretty good consolation prize. So this is a very deep draft, but Victor is Victor, right? He could be the face of the league at some point in the foreseeable future. But anyway, again, however you feel about it, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between, let me know.